Hello everyone, this is Sebastian, aka Barboscopics for PokerVIP.com, and today I'm gonna present you a video of me playing on Titan Poker, which is part of the iPoker network, and I'm gonna play 20 NL, and I'm gonna play their speed format, which is basically the Zoom or fast poker format. You know what I mean. And yeah, I mean, before I start, let's say a few words about the site and so on. So, as on all sites, you get a welcome bonus here, which is, I think, up to like 25% rakeback. And it's like a 200% bonus. You can read all the details on the PokerVIP site. And then you have like a normal rakeback structure, which ranges from like 20 to 40% rakeback, depending on how much volume you put in. Plus, also another cool thing is, if you do sign up via the PokerVIP site, like via the link there, which I did, you can also participate in a PokerVIP challenge, which is also equal to like 10% plus rakeback, depending on how much you rake in. So roughly you can get definitely quite easily and comfortably over 50% rakeback, probably more like 60%, but all depending on your volume, of course. So yeah, so I mean, what's else to say? I mean, the site so far is looking quite good. I was honestly pretty pleased with like the layout and how it looks. There are obviously some downsides if you compare it like to PokerStars. Nothing's gonna reach like the software quality of PokerStars, but yeah, it's quite solid. Yeah, and I guess let's just say a few more things about the site while we're playing and jump right into the action now. So you can see, for example, like the cards IMO are looking pretty good here. Pretty clean. I think generally this is all looking relatively clean. Compared to like a lot of other sites. One downside I did find, for example, an upside is that you can quite easily tag people. Compared to on other sites you're struggling to tag people and to take notes. Here it's quite possible. A downside is that you don't have keybinds, which is not a downside to a lot of people because not a lot of people are using keybinds, but for example I am using keybinds. And yeah, the a6 just gonna fold turn, nothing really going on there. 10-9 suited, relatively good hand. So you can see that like, I'm gonna 3-bet to 10-9 here. Make it 4x out of position. So you can see that this table is like not full. We are playing 4-handed here, which is due to the pool not being like super full, but there are like 55 entries in the pool right now, which is solid. You can also see there are some cell phone players, which is always good, and like another short stacker. Generally, you will see that there are like a decent bit of short stackers here compared to some other sites. And even though like you're not playing like full 6-max all the time, I could squeeze you, but given the guy's a short stacker, I don't want to squeeze stack off here with ace-5 suited. I'm just gonna let it go. The tables are still opening really fast, so you can definitely get in a decent amount of volume here, I'd guess. Compared to on some other sites, if like the pools get like really small in the night, it takes a ton of time for a table to open, basically. But here the tables are opening quite fast. Just gonna fold a few pretty weak hands. Not a lot to say here. King 7, I would guess without rake this would be a call, but given there's rake, we're just gonna fold. Another short stacker and cell phone player, just gonna tag him as light blue, which means potential rake. I haven't played like too much here yet. I mean, I think I've played like a few hundred hands so far here. But from what I've seen so far, I like it. So generally this would be a close spot, a 3x up from cutoff being in the big blind with queen hand suited, but given this guy is a cell phone player and probably a fish, I'm definitely gonna like widen my calling range a bit. Because I'm perceiving my skill edge to be higher and perceiving to make more money versus him post flop. So I want to just get involved in more pots with him on average. By the way, in the bottom left of the screen you can see the replayer. It's not a table, it's just a replayer. If I do want to show you like a holding villain hand or something like that. generally peeling a street here with the Queen 10 and weak back to flush draw. Once he checks, we're gonna try to take it down on turn. We're gonna bet relatively large on the ace, because I think on the ace, some of his pocket sixes might get a bit stubborn, so I do want to force them out. Hence, I'm gonna bet quite big here. Obviously, I can easily have an ace there, but I mean, it doesn't really matter. I just want to get him off some weaker middle pairs, or even fold out end like 9-8 of hearts. Like, I don't want to give him the chance to either improve or bluff me off the best hand. Here we could 3-bet. Guy looks like a rag, if that's worth anything. I'm just gonna pass on it, given I have no reads on him and whether he overfolds or not. Once again, short stacks, everywhere short stacks, and like the full stacks probably are like a good part of the full stackers will also probably be recreationals, right? I guess this Ibra Pogba guy is kind of looking Pogba, kind of looking solid from the few hands at 6 of them. So he calls a small blind. Generally his range will be more like defined and stronger on average. This is still a good board for me, and I have gut shot, so I'm gonna start by betting small. And gonna see along down the line what I will do. I might double barrel the hand to get him event like 6s. But we'll see. Another short stack. Always make sure to tag all of them. It's quite vital. He min raises. We could call, we could 3-bet, both options are on the table. I'm gonna opt to 3-bet this time. Just gonna perceive his min range to be weak here, which might or might not be true. Here I'm gonna complete the 10-8, given there's fish limbs obviously, and the fish is in the big blind as well. We're gonna, yeah, guy leads this board for pot. Might be a sign of him being a weaker player, even though this board is like I guess is a board where he could lead. But then like mixed in with like him min opening, him leading for pot there, probably a recreation. Should have probably already tagged him as a recreational for that, but usually I'm looking for like a bit more indicators that he's weak. Just look at this table, like everyone being light blue, like 2 recreational spend. I'm gonna widen my opening range here. And gonna open a relatively weak hand 10-7. We don't really have a lot going on. I'm still gonna start by c-betting a third pot here. Yeah, just taking it down. It's a relatively good board for me. I do have a backdoor straight, and hitting the 10 would be quite okay. And I think smaller ranges, as I said, are in general more narrow and stronger on average, but I think this goes out of the window if you're facing like a recreation. Because I just think they kind of don't really make a big difference between small and big blinds. Their positional awareness is like basically 0. This is close. Generally I would always fold this. I'm tempted to call because he's a recreational. I actually think I will put this in my calling range just because he's a recreational, else I would fold the Jack 5 here, generally. Once he checks and us having a gut shot, and we definitely can get him with like some ace highs and like some weak pairs, we're gonna fire relatively big here. Checking the ace 3, given its multi-way, given the texture of the board. Do turn a gut shot, and I mean on the I guess it's essentially a double gut shot and a flush draw. Both did check flop. They can still have some 8x. I'm gonna fire turn though. I think we definitely have some fold equity. Just gonna bet $1. We obviously have equity. We obviously don't want to get raised on, but I think this guy would have led his 8 usually, and I think a lot of his 8x would see that. Of the buttons 8x. And yeah, I mean, we can improve to what? The 4, which gives us a straight. The 8 essentially gives us a straight, even though it's a straight on the board. It's still kind of an out. Or half an out, I guess. And obviously the clubs, we have the clubs. The 10-8, I don't see any short stack in front of me, else I would always open this. Let's throw it into the open range anyways. Get it into some spots. Another short stack. It's definitely looking quite juicy. Flop top pair on a really dry board. Given its multi-way, I will not want third. Heads up, I would want third. Multi-way, I'm going to size up a bit to like about 40% pot here. We get raised by the guy I was perceiving as a rag on this texture. That's really weird. Not something a rag generally would do. I have a really weak 8. I can have a ton of better hands here. I'm not sure. Is my timing activating automatically now? I hope so, right? Yeah, it is. We got pretty good odds. We don't have a backdoor flush draw. I'm gonna let this really weak 8-10 go. I have like a bunch of better 10x. I have overpayers. I have sets. I have 10x with backdoor flush draws. It was 3-ways on the flop. So this guy opens to 10x. Oh, yeah, I'm just gonna attack him as a weaker pair. So I wouldn't fold 10-8 with a backdoor flush draw there. But yeah, that's where I'm gonna make the cut. It's basically my weakest 10 I can have, my weakest top pair I can have. It's one of the weakest 10s I would, and that's not true. I would obviously see bet some air as well, and I mean, not that it really matters if I'm balanced there or not, just kind of illustrating the point. We have a lot of good hands there. It was 3-ways on the flop, and he still raises the flop on a board where he can't really have a lot of bluffs, or at least generally doesn't have a lot of bluffs. We're gonna 3-bet here. And where we are like uncapped and have a ton of good hands. He doesn't have incentive to bluff raise there. He can't have, or like, the texture doesn't offer a lot of bluffs basically, and he still raises. Generally that means strength. And it doesn't mean some weird mergers with 9s, 8s, for the most part. And he also did seem like a rag, which makes it more like he has a reasonable hand there. Start by 1-3ing here, quite straightforward. Gotta stand fold, that's fine. Gonna flat the force here. It's quite marginal to flat the force here. I do think we can get away with it. So I might not fold the 10-8 versus a weaker player, but versus a seemingly raggish guy, I think it's more reasonable to let it go. It's also always about the ways to improve your hand. Just a few easy folds here. Not sure what this sizing means. This player is playing from a web client. So he doesn't have the desktop app. He's playing from a web client. Okay. Yeah, it always also depends on like how much equity do you have if you are beat and how many ways do you have to improve. So for example, if he has a better 10, we are quite screwed. If he has a set, we're drawing dead, right? So. And if he has a bluff there, let's say like, I don't know, king, queen, backdoor flush draw, he actually has quite a lot of ways to improve as our hand. So yeah, overall it's just not a good spot. Another recreational would have opened the hand quite wide because there are two recreationals behind, and another one. And another non-fold stacker. And another one. Like this table is literally only non-fold stackers. I don't know. If that's not like looking juicy, I don't know what is. Just tagging everyone. Okay, we're gonna 3-bet open jam 50 big blinds. That's a thing apparently. Opening. Really dry texture, flat small blind. Gonna start by betting 1/3. I have a decent bit of barrel cards like the queen and the ace, and I do want to realize my equity. Preferably over 2 streets than 1. Could have the best hand as well, protecting versus certain parts of range here. Obviously opening the ace-10. If we were to face a 3-bet, we would call the ace-10 suited. Probably bluff a few weaker hands. The pocket 8s. Good old snowman. Probably will 3-bet. Yeah. 3-betting to 4x out of position. Folding to king suited. Oh, we get called 4-bet. Now, this would be a good hand to 5-bet bluff, but given I have no reads, pretty easy just fold. Would need like a really solid aggressive preflop read on the BB to shove the 8s there. It can be okay versus some players, but you want to have a really solid read, and by that I mean not like 300 hands on him, by that I mean like 3,000 hands on him, 4,000 hands on him, with having some history. Basically, he needs to 4-bet, fold a decent bit there for you to make profit on shoving the pocket 8s there. And I would never flat the out of position with the pocket 8s. I might with 10s and 9s, but would also generally jam the 10s and 9s rather than flatting the 4-bet out of position. Wouldn't flat the 4-bet there a lot, basically. Kind of jam or folding mostly. There's some hands I would consider to flat, as I said, 10s, 9s, maybe ace queen suited. Let's go for a 3-bet here, with the 6-5 suited. Quite reasonable hand versus an effective cutoff open. Yeah, just take it down, get a walk on the other table. Not like, so far no like real dicey post-flop spots, sadly. only a bit of like fighting, battling preflop. Opening ace 9, not sure why I have 3x opened it. As a standard, I'm currently opening for 2.5x from a small blind. Not that it matters a ton. You can open to 3x, you can open to 2.4x. It's not going to change your EV drastically. Opening any ace from the button, quite obviously. And giving away a few recreational tags, the table full of recreationals. This guy playing from his web client, and this guy open jamming however many BBs that is. I'm not gonna call it ace 8. It's like, what, 22 BBs I think? Oh, he opens to like, what's that, 5x? No, 6x? I mean, okay, have it. Those are some sick plays here. Excuse me, let me take a sip of water. Throat is running dry. Okay, that's gonna be a squeeze, boys. It's gonna be a squeeze to $2. Oh, you see the box as well here. Not sure why this box just appeared. I hope it's just gonna fade away. Value 3 betting king queen. Flopping top pair. Pretty dynamic texture. Not gonna bet too small here. Gonna bet relatively big here. The king queen with the nut gut shot, 2 overs. I could see bet, I could fold, I could check back and realize. This is generally a board where I want to do a decent bit of checking. I will opt to see bet this hand because I just think it plays out better. Double flush draw board. I actually will jam this in. I do think this looks the most bluffy, and there are a lot of bluffs here. And we get snapped by his hand, and we hold. Can this box please now fade because I couldn't see my time bank? Yeah, cool. Now it's on him. Don't know what that is. Yeah, I guess we can sit out and talk about that in for a second there. Maybe the box will fade then as well. Because like literally not sure what's that. Maybe I have to reopen the table or something. Okay, opening the small blind here. Meantime, I'm gonna open the hand. Make the replay a bit smaller so you can see it. I think this should be fine now. Okay, so how is that gonna work out? Play. Okay, so we face a UTG open and the cutoff overcall. We have a pretty good squeezing hand, pretty good blockers, can't really flat, or yeah, can't really flat profitably. So we opt to squeeze it with pretty good blockers and relatively strong hand. Get a fold and a call. Okay. Basically get one of the best flops imaginable. So on this flop, it's a really dynamic texture. I think we should not see bet small here. We should generally see bet big here because there are just a lot of hands that can give us value, and we don't want to miss out on that value. I think my sizing was even on the lower end. I think we could quite comfortably bet like 350 here, and I kind of would probably prefer to bet 350 here. So if we bet around 350 here, that would mean there would be around 12 in on the turn. Basically makes the SPR a bit easier to just shove turn. Could even opt to bet like bigger. Could even opt to bet around pots, so we have one pot size bet on the turn, so we can pile in a lot of turns. So basically, yeah, I think I was betting on the small end, and I think I would actually prefer a bit of a bigger bet than this. I think this is actually too small. I think I would actually prefer more like 390 or something, 380. Anyways, he calls, we take a turn. So I couldn't go too in-depth while playing the hand because I didn't see my timing and I didn't want to time out. So the SPR on the turn is about 1.7, which is still a relatively big SPR. But if you look at the texture, it's basically as wet as it can get. Like, 3 cards are extremely connected, then like the top card and the second card are connected. There are 2 flush draws which are like, I unblock all the flush draws, I unblock all the straight draws, unblock all the good draws. There are a ton of high equity hands, right? A ton of hands like 8x of hearts, 5x of diamonds, 6x of diamonds, 10-9 suited, queen 10 of hearts, king queen of diamonds, a ton of high equity hands. I can't even name them all. There are straight draws, there are combo draws, there are pairs plus flush draws, gut draws plus flush draws, or manners plus flush draws. There's a lot of things going on, right? So, and another thing is, we are not really beat here a ton, right? It's kind of hard to be beat. On the 6, not a lot improves in terms of made hands, right? Besides an occasional pocket 6s that somehow peel to flop, which generally shouldn't happen. 5-6 suited, those are not really things. And generally I would expect his like pocket 8s to check raise the flop because it's a pretty wet texture. So we're not really worried about being beat, but you have to think about the game like, on how many rivers are we happy? There will be a lot of rivers where the texture shifts and where our hand gets significantly worse, right? So right now we kind of do have the nuts, quote unquote, right? The effective nuts. But that will change a ton by the time the river hits. And there just are a ton of high equity hands that can call our big bet, or like pretty big bet, yeah. So for example, like not even high equity hands, there are also hands which we completely crush, which will probably just call off because of the nature of so many draws being possible. For example, if he has like Jack 10, Queen Jack, King Jack, so like a worse Jack, right? He could easily call off because there's so many draws. And like pocket 10s, pocket 9s, 9-8, those hands just might call off because there's so many draws. Like he snaps ace 8 with the flush. Yeah, he had the flush draw, right? Makes sense, kind of. But like, would he fold ace 8 of spades? Who knows? Like he could definitely convince himself that I have a draw and I would just jam a hand like queen 10 of hearts here every time. So I think jamming just makes the most sense, and that's what I did, and we got snapped and we held. So just kind of wanted to go a bit more in depth into the hands because I didn't have the time in the hands exactly, because I didn't see my time bank. Obviously, favorable result to also hold. Yeah. So there's that. Jumping back into the action now. That was a pretty interesting spot, I'd say. And we have a table full of recreationals again. And this box is still there. The box is our friend now. It's officially our friend now. I guess we could reopen the table, but then my OBS is kind of maybe gonna mess around a bit, so I'm not sure how good that would be. Maybe I should just reopen the table, because this is actually kind of bothering me. Not sure what it is. Yeah, let me actually reopen the table, I guess. Let's speed fold here. Let's close this one. And there's actually 71 players or 71 entries by now in here. So let's change this up. I'll just do that on the fly. Okay, kind of went fast. Not sure if it was triggering you, but that box kind of was triggering me, so. Now it's fixed, and now we're happy again. So that's that. Limps, blindly blind, we're happy to see a flop. We're happy to see a turn as well, given our hand. We're also quite happy to just bet if he checks. And we will definitely double barrel here. If he check calls, he will check call that flop with a lot of weak things, which we can get him off by the turn or by the river. Quite a lot. Another short stacker, and another one, and another limper. My brother from another mother. He leads small. Let's gonna raise here. Raising quite small here, and we get min raised on, and we get a call. So we get like 11-1 SVP here. Not too thrilled with it. Like that action was kind of weird. If he bets big now, I'm out. Yeah, let's see what happens here. Yeah, he pots it. I'm gonna 3-bet the queen 10 suited here versus a perceived weaker player. Is there like a watch, fold and watch button? I don't think there is, sadly. So I'm gonna fold and then I'm gonna try to look at it in the replayer. Just out of curiosity. The min open. We would really not fold a lot versus min opens, but give me the 3-8 offsuited, right? The 3-8 offsuited. And I will press the fold button even with min blind be blind. Like the 3-8 offsuited, I will toss that into the trash. Let's maybe see here. Not sure why the replay is getting bigger if I open it. Previous hand. So he took it down on the river, so I guess he shoved the river and the other guy folded. Okay. We flop trips. What happened here? I guess he limmed, right? Yeah, he limmed. I'm gonna check the flop, let him c-bet. Could lead as well. Gonna lead now, quite big. Lots of value to be had. Yeah, gonna bet again, quite big here. Yeah, betting around the sizing. For like almost the min open, I'm gonna defend the ace 3. Okay, I'm not too interested in the queen 7, to be honest. I mean, I kind of know what happened. He jammed it and the other guy folded. He bets really large. If I had the ace of hearts, this would be a call, but given I only have the 3 of hearts, and I do block back the flush draws, which is not a good thing, and I only have the bottom pair, I'm gonna let this one go. But give me the ace of hearts, there's a side card, and I would press call. By the way, each part will be around 30 minutes long, as always, roughly. We do turn this, so we have an option to either check raise or like a lead. I actually think I want to check raise because I think he has a decent bit of ace X, which will bet now, and I would perceive them to bet call a reasonable bit. Could be wrong about that, but let's find out. Check raising. He calls. I think he has an ace. I don't think an ace is gonna fold. Gonna bet 70% pot. Folding for the V versus UTG open here. 70% pot. Hope he has an ace. He snap calls us basically. Folding the 6-8 at MP. I want to see what he had. And he did have the ace queen with the club, so that's kind of a good hand even. Only 2 recreations behind. Not gonna open the queen jack. If there were more recreations behind, I would, even from UTG. Folding the deuce 9 offsuited. Give me the deuce 9 off, and I will fold. Pretty good pot to win here in a like limp pot. Very happy that he decided to limp his hand. Did he limp? I think he limped, right? Yeah, it was a limp pot. Also, okay, the tags don't appear again in the replay. Yeah. So, I could also take a note now. Like, limps button with ace queen off. So, yeah. Queen 6 suited versus some guys I might fold, but given the guys a perceived recreational, I'm gonna defend the queen 6 suited. Generally defending a bit wider versus perceived weaker players because, as said, I think my edge is higher. I think my potential winnings post flop are just higher. Pretty easy, just call on the flop. Pretty good turn. One of the better ones. Also think there's a turn where he's gonna barrel a lot of his 10-9s, 10-8, king 10, ace king, ace 10s, and even his like maybe random ace 8s, ace 9s are gonna barrel, so we're gonna call, and even maybe his jack 10s are still gonna bet. Easy fold to king high on the right hand table, easy call on the turn, and on the river we have a decision to call or raise, depending on what he does. If he checks, we're obviously gonna bet. If he bets huge, we're gonna if he would opt to bet huge, we would just call. If he would bet half pot, we would probably raise. So now once he checks, we're just gonna bet like a medium sizing. Trying to get called by, I don't know, a queen. No, we block it. So here having a pot size bet behind. Yes, there's an overcard on the board, but we have a pot size bet behind. And we have a second pair with a backdoor flush draw. Our hand gets a lot out of him folding a hand like Queen Jack of Hearts here. So we're just gonna jam. We can get called by worse. We can get protection. Yes, occasionally we do run into a better hand. Like here. That's fine. Like, that's totally okay to sometimes run into a better hand there. There's still no doubt in my mind that I want to shove that flop. Just due to the nature of there are worse hands that can call us, and our hand just like gets a lot from protection there. Gonna 3-bet the ace jack here versus a perceived weaker player. Trying to isolate him, going heads up. Flopping relatively good. We could opt to sometimes check this hand back on the flop, but versus a perceived weaker player, I will not do that. I will just, he leads into me for 2/3 pot. We will opt to focus on the right hand table and just call. That's a good turn. We're gonna stick with our calling plan. Left hand table, we're gonna c-bet. He checks turn. We will bet turn. For roughly around half pot. A bit less. We turn the best turn in the deck on the left. We could be beat here as well. Occasionally we're going to be beat there. But generally we would not be. Gonna bet quite big. I think there will be a lot of calls by him on the turn still. So gonna bet quite big. And if he raises, we're gonna jam it in. We are free rolling versus his 7/8. We can get it in versus flush draws, which we have extremely dominated. Yeah, just have a pretty good hand there. We're betting the ace queen versus a UTG open. Back on right hand table. Folded in the ace jack hand, that's fine. Get called and called by the other guy. Generally I would see bet 1/3 here, but oh, this is weird. I actually think I will opt to c-bet 1/3 still and get it in versus the short stacker, because we can get it in versus the short stacker for sure. He has like less than half pot left and we have like no pair. And this guy shouldn't have a ton of it. Yeah, easy call off. He has ace queen as well. That's a good result. We're getting that money off the UTG guy. And we can't lose the pot. So, I mean, he generally will have like, yeah, quite a wide range there, being a recreational, and we have good blockers. It's more of a value bet on the flop than a bluff. It's really not a bluff. It's more of a value bet. Opening the aces and the ace jack, hoping to get some dice with the aces, of course. Oh, just a walk, that's fine as well. And yeah, closing in on the 35-minute mark. Gonna sit out the next big blind. Sit out the next big blind on 2 cash gate tables. That's a reasonable thing to do. Always trying to sit out at the next big blind to not waste any EV. Folding a lot of trashy hands, not a lot to comment there. And yeah, already in the next big blind. So that was it for part 1 of grinding on Titan Poker of the iPoker network. So far so good. I think this video was pretty educational. Got into a lot of interesting spots, I feel like, at least. And yeah, hope you got a lot out of it, and hope you will be back for part 2. And hope that will be equally as interesting as this one. And as always, have fun at your own grinds. If you have any questions, any comments, post them in the comment section of PokerVIP or on YouTube. Generally checking those out like every day or every other day. And yeah, have a nice evening or a nice day, and see you next time. Bye!